We're back, people, and today we're going to film on Matthew Jones, Ohio State, right guard. Dolphins picked him up as a UDFA. Even did some work at center, as you'll see later on, and I think that might be where he could fit better, even at the next NFL level. But I really like his scheme fit. He didn't test super well, but you could see the lateral agility on his tape, getting out of his stance. He's a good mover in space, like on pulls. He understands, positioning. Really enjoy his run game usage. His run blocking is very, very impressive. 55. He knows just how to hit it, get his hips across. He's got that lateral quickness. I think sometimes at right guard, he can be a little bit late to react to the snap. It's not that he's doesn't have that lateral quickness to get off. He's just late to react at times, which hurts him. So that's why I kind of liked him better at center, because at center, he obviously is doing the snap, and he would react to it a lot quicker. I think he has his pass protection deficiencies that come into play. Like, he definitely needs some work on his technique, as you'll see when we get to some of the more pass protection plays. He's kind of a lunger over the top. Doesn't have that elite athleticism to recoveries, and doesn't have that. But when his feet are good, his footwork can be out of place. But when his footwork's good in pass protection, he definitely plays a lot better. I think he has enough anchor core strength to be effective. But I really enjoy watching the run game stuff, the movement out in space, cutting people off. But when he's patient and uses his hands well, he can reset. He just sometimes plays with wide hands, and his feet can get out of position. But overall, I think, as a UDFA, he's a guy I'm trying to keep him on the practice squad at least. He has a chance to fight for a roster spot. Some of these UDFAs don't really have a chance just due to the roster. I think Jones is one of the guys that has a chance to potentially make it as the last guy. Potentially, if he could get that, the backup center role, if he gets for that. Because him and Mayer, Andrew Mayer, they have a UTEP, I think both have a chance to fight for that spot. But I would like to keep him on as a UDFA because of that run game scheme fit. I think he has something to work there with. Plus, could develop under Barry. So we'll go back, start breaking down some of this film. But he really does a good job exploding out of his stance here. Get out of this, laterally. Really good work. Cuts off 41 really impressively. This edge right here, who's knifing to the inside, but he takes a good angle. That first step is slightly angled backwards, so he's really able to cut him off. Now he gets that left hand into the chest, the right hand, right underneath that shoulder pad. Now he just cuts him off. Reset the hands too. I love that. He's able to sort of reset when he gets in a different position. Now just completely cut him off underneath the armpit. Boom, 41 has no chance on, a lot of these runs, these outside zone runs, or, when he's pulling out in space. He looks very comfortable. And Ohio State run a lot of outside zone because, Travion Henderson, who's a good back in next year's draft class, is an outside zone heavy back. And this is, exactly where you see him fit into the scheme, is with these types of runs. And it's also why I could see him fitting better in at center, because specifically for the Dolphins, because they value these types of blocks. They value him at guard too, but I think they value him even more at center. But here, as a right guard, 3-tech to the play side, he's able to get out, cut him off, which is really nice. Hook him up, good feet, good hips, good base. Now he's in the exact position you want him to be. And even when he doesn't get the cutoffs, he does a good job. When people are they get back to the gap that you want, now you just drive him out of the way. And then here's some of the center stuff. I thought he only played a handful of snaps in this game at center because the players got hurt. Versus Michigan State, this is really where he only played center. In the first couple snaps, he looked a little uncomfortable, but after that, I thought he looked really, really good. This is an impressive play, getting around here. Looks like they're just working some basic outside zone, but he kind of gets caught up and just makes an adjustment here to just go around his guard, who he ends up, helping here by getting a body on 41, slowing him down, and then getting also to 5 to cut him off. Pretty good, just athletic play and instinctive play. Another one here at center, making the nice adjustment, drive this guy out of the way. You're able to get your hips across again on these, these concepts. He does it very, very well. Now he's in a position. Then I love the finish, the drive, push this guy just out of the way. Very, very good stuff. I feel very comfortable with the running game stuff, with his fit just into this offense. I just have some pretty big questions, when it comes to, because he's not an elite athlete or anything. He didn't test very well. He doesn't have the elite physical traits. And then he also has the pass protection technique stuff that needs work. But you turn on the running game stuff, and he does a good job just cutting people off over and over again. Look who he ends up cutting off here. You think he tried to cut off the 3-tech, but he gets out to the guy on the end who's, more like a 7-ish type player, and he cuts him off, gets his hips across. He squares him up, basically has him squared right here. But he's still able to now get your hips across, positioning. And look at this. He even holds it for so long, because this edge knifes into the backfield, slows down Henderson. He has to make this cut, really slow down, and he still is able to just perfect position the whole time, sustain it. That is beautiful, beautiful work from a run blocking perspective. He's also to strain, does a decent job of like straining, getting out of his stance. I like the explosiveness here. When you want to see him sustain a little bit more, maybe get your head across him, but he's able to at least score him up. This is like your job here. You're not going to be able to get across every single time. That's good explosiveness out of the stance. Get in a decent enough spot, slow him down long enough. He's straining, but I like to see him sustain a little bit longer, but does his job long enough for them to execute. He also does a decent job pulling out into space. Here he's pulling across. He makes some good adjustments too. Able to, really get his body across 41, which is nice. Sometimes you can be a kick out guy, but sometimes you're that pull guy, where you're kind of like that lead block, and he gets the exact spot he wants. I wish he had better hand placement here, but sometimes it's just about getting your body in the right position. He just needs to clean up some of the technical stuff, but really enjoy the run game work. Some more outside zone, split zone stuff with 19 working across here. Does a good job with his left hand, helping out 75, his center, to get in a good position. Now he's climbing to the next level. This guy's a natural leverage position, so he's not going to be able to cut him off this time, Cut him off, reach him, get your hips across, which is fine. You got to make that adjustment, realize, like, what's going to happen here. So now just kick him out, because, with these running backs, they're trying to find these cutback lanes. So now he just, boom, drives him out of the play, widen him, and he does his job. And then he also finishes it pretty well like that in the running game. Another nice adjustment here on the pull. This time a little bit different. More, the guy, you're going to see the first one while this guy goes and kicks out. He finds him. Boom, just drive him out of the play. Make that adjustment. Attack the low hip. Your running back works off the back of you again. Jones continuously made those adjustments. You can just see him blocking out in space. Doing a good job on linebackers. Feels very comfortable in those areas. And I feel like he does a pretty good job. He kind of struggled in this Michigan game. Those were kind of like the positives reps right here. But you'll see some of the more negative ones once we see later on this stuff specifically in pass protection. This one versus Michigan State, this is like earlier on when he's was still at right guard. Another example of them doing some a weak outside zone stuff. Doesn't quite cut him off this time, but this is what you want to do. This guy's able to basically replace his gap. When he replaces this gap, gets across, because he's lined up right there as like a 3, but he's able to get his head across, or at least even with you. Now Jones is like, well, might as well just keep driving him for the cutback lane. So replace his gap, put him there, replace him even more, drive it. He does a good job sustaining there, and then they find that cutback lane. So doing it in multiple different ways. He finished, these strong runs. He'll definitely go out there and play with some physicality. He's not going to, bully too many defensive linemen, but he'll go out there and, hit people out in space, which is nice. And then when he plays good in pass protection, there are some of the good pass protection steps. It's just when he's patient, his footwork is good. His initial steps, he has a good base. Sometimes he just doesn't know how to get to his landmark, as you'll see throughout this video when we get later on. But when his feet are good, his base, he's not too lunged over the top, able to mirror match, reset those hands. It looks good. Like right there, love the patience out of him. These are some good stuff. He does a good job with the drag hand helping to either side. His feet look better here. Look like he can at least mirror and match. You can see the potential with his athletic feet. Want to see him stick with this a little bit more, but he does at least realize what's going on and be like, oh, let me hustle, go out, and at least get my body back across, which, at least he helped out his QB late there. But this is where the problems come into play. Versus Michigan, doesn't get out of his stance good. You can see his footwork. Look at the right foot there. Doesn't really kick out at all. Kind of backpedals at times, or, doesn't really do too much with his base. So kind of taking some false steps and then just lunges over the top. If you're going to use this type of thing, you got to be a little more balanced. He lunges, misses the hands, gets out of the play, and that just happened a little bit too often. He kind of struggled with 55 here for Michigan. Another example, the feet are a little bit better here this time, and then just lunge over the top. He's bending at the waist, loses the balance again. Just needs to really, really work on those situations, because when he does get out engaged, has a wide base, he gets the hands actually within the chest, hits it, doesn't lunge over. He doesn't have that athleticism to really recover at a high level. Now he's able to strain, anchor, do a decent enough job there with his hands, resetting them, fighting. Those are the things you want to see in pass protection. Here's another example of him just missing the initial thing right there. If you look at the left guard for Ohio State, he's getting out of his stance right there. Could be better too from the left guard. But if you look at now Jones, he's kind of just backpedaling, not really going out of in his like kick step right there, which I think he can work on. And now, boom, Jenkins hits him with the spin move. He tries to spin out of it and actually does a decent job, at least kind of recovering. He still lost that rep for sure. I do think he passes off twists and stunts pretty well, I noticed. So you can at least process in this area, throw it off aggressively into your center, then get out of it, find 78 working across. He did his job on those specific plays. Like the stopping power here, because this edge trying to knife to the inside, he sees it late, edge goes straight into his chest, and he's able to stop that in its tracks, showing some good core strength. Good job, better technique too. It just looked like his technique was really off in that Michigan game. It definitely was still a problem in other games. Like here, look at this. Like, look at his stance here. This is a good example of kind of what I'm talking about. Like, with his kick step, he straight up just backpedals. Like, and if you look at, 74 on the other side, the left guard, you can see the angle he's taking out of his kick step and staying more balanced. 55 is straight up backpedaling, so he just needs to work with his footwork, which will help the rest of it. And then, not lunging, being better with your weight distribution, being better with your hands, because you can get a little wide with those. The rep ends up still being, pretty positive, but these are things that will definitely give him trouble at the next level. I'm excited to see, him, like, I would say like half the UDFAs I'm excited to see play in the preseason, and maybe, another one surprises. So we'll see how it ends up working out. I think he's a guy that can definitely fight for, a practice squad spot. But, another just nice job picking up, these twists and stunts and stuff, recognizing it pretty early. It's just he needs to clean up the footwork issue for sure. And he doesn't have, if he was like an elite athlete and had these issues, he would have gotten drafted, like the technical issues. Because, those types of players get drafted. He just didn't have like the elite athleticism or size while also having technical issues in pass protection. But there's stuff like, that's why I think, if the Dolphins do want to move him to center, you can kind of mask those deficiencies a little bit more, especially in the Dolphin system. So he ended up in the best place for his skill set. So I'm excited to see how it ends up playing out for him. That's why I kind of have some faith, because I've seen these types of players roll through this McDaniel system before and actually find some better success. So if you guys like the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.